Dr. Richard KATZ. All right, we're here to celebrate a very special birthday to our favorite 2-year-old, Dr. Richard KATZ. And to do that, I have with me Abu KHAMR. How you doing, brother? And I've got Faithful to God as well. Welcome to the program, Street Apologists Live. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Christian urban apologetics program. Usually, we don't do birthday parties on here, but we're willing to make an exception, especially in light of all the anti-Semitism going on. We want to, anytime we can, give love to somebody from that community that's being persecuted. We want to. And so tonight we're going to honor
and the homophobia.
Dr. Richard KATZ. Abu KHAMR, thank you very much for joining Street Apologists Live, your favorite Christian urban apologetics show, hosted by Vocab, MALONE, and Abu KHAMR and Faithful to God. What's going on, brother?
How's it going? Thank you for having me on. I was going to say he is a special child. As 93, the researcher for Garfield said, it's not easy the way he's growing up, because he's one of these kids that's growing up with 2 dads. So, and who are cousins on top of that. So,
oh yeah, guys, Abu, I'm glad you started out this program, really letting us get inside a window of the difficulties that Dr. KATZ has had to face, ever since his birth. A lot of people have things like their mothers maybe considered aborting them, or the father leaves, or maybe one of the parents was addicted to a substance like alcohol. Then you get fetal alcohol syndrome, or during the 80s you had a lot of crack epidemic. Now we got a lot of meth babies, and there's all these complications with drug exposed children, and that's tough. We need to really take that into consideration. But when we think about Dr. KATZ and all of the things going on in this world, you got to think about it. He faces some really great challenges right out the gate, right out the womb. First of all, he has 2 fathers. He doesn't just have one father, he has 2 fathers, and no mother that we know of to speak of. Although I think that Sister E might be stepmother, a great aunt, something like that. But I don't know if she adopted him. Maybe she's unadopted him at this point. Not sure on the exact familial relations right now. But he's got 2 fathers, Dr. KATZ. Not only that, they're related to each other. So 2 fathers who are cousins. That's not an easy pill to swallow as a young man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Faithful, how do you think in the midst of all that trial and tribulation, Dr. KATZ was still able to earn a PhD, which is usually at least 8 hours?
With a capital H. With a capital H.
Yeah, how was he able to earn that capital P, capital H, capital D, which is usually takes a person 8 years maybe, because you got to do your undergrad, then your grad. This young man accomplished it in 2 years. 2 years. While having 2 fathers who were related.
Faster than divine prospect.
He was born with it.
Yeah, that's maybe he was born with a capital P, capital H, capital D.
Yeah. Writing emails. He was fully literate right out the womb. So.
Yeah, well, so when he was first born, we were actually privy to the birth. We didn't realize it immediately, but looking back, we should have been handing out, birthday balloons that are blue and smoking cigars. Abu, do you think you were the first person or one of the first people to find out?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We certainly got the hints very early on. I remember it was right after David Boonis, apparently via, due to intimidation, but it was right after David Boonis had said that Will Brown had misrepresented him. Right after that, Will Brown started showing emails from KATZ. It was an illusion. He didn't give his name initially. The first thing he posted was a picture of Dr. Evil laughing, and he said, something to the effect of, when they think you only had one scholar, stay tuned.
And yet another PhD enters into the discussion, Dr. Evil. Will Brown
That's the good one.
and Kelly Richardson, there's so many PhDs in their circle, it's wonder it's not 212 degrees over there, Well, because there's a lot of degrees.
Well, look, it's the player haters degree. That's how it works, man. That's what the PhD stands for.
Maybe that's where that capital H comes from, because you can't lowercase that H, And something else that's interesting. The more I think about it, I am thinking that perhaps Dr. KATZ does have a mother. And it goes back to a saying. There's something that they say is the mother of invention. So I'm thinking Dr. Katz's mother is necessity. Because necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, he was much needed after the Bunis fiasco. Yeah.
Yeah, he was much needed. You know what? I'm gonna have you guys give the trajectory of this whole situation here in a second. But you know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling like we need to take a birthday break. What do you guys think?
Okay, all right.
Faithful? What do you think? A birthday break?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, when we come back from this birthday break, I'm going to have you guys break down the history of the 2-year-old, capital P, capital H, capital D, Dr. Richard KATZ. Birthday break! Here we go. You're only 2 years old, but we want you to feel special on this special day. Hey! Hey! Birthday break for Dr. KATZ. Wow. All right. Abu, Faithful, you guys ready? People need to understand why we're celebrating the way we're celebrating. They really do. So, Abu, the floor is yours.
Okay. I guess in this discussion, what we could do is, you've covered the KATZ controversy before. I guess we could briefly go through the history, but I think we're going to cover some of the developments, some of the fun developments that have come up since the last time it was discussed on your channel, on the Vocab Malone channel. So, we could do that. For those who don't know, Richard KATZ was trotted out in he first appeared, his first emails appeared. No one's ever seen him, but on December 7th. Well, actually, if I can push it back a little bit more. There you go.
Matter of fact, before you go on, Abu, just very briefly, the whole KATZ thing was really prompted because of the David Bunis incident, where they attempted to make an appeal to a Solitero scholar. It backfired on them. He never endorsed their claim.
Appeal to him for
that
what?
led to the
clear for those who don't know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why was the necessity there to birth Dr. KATZ is what.
Okay, so here's what it is that there was, as some know, there was a debate of sorts about interpreting the markings on the pews at First African Baptist Church in Savannah, Georgia. Some said that it was clearly cursive Hebrew. Others who were familiar with Hebrew disagreed. And so one of the things that happened in November of 2020, they trotted out a scholar of Solitreo named David Bunis, a real flesh and blood scholar, and they said that he had confirmed an entire Hebrew sentence on one of the pews. It was caused a bit of a stir, a lot of controversy, and we later found out that they misrepresented Bunis. And when that was revealed, it was revealed on December 3rd, 2020. And immediately after the video came out... Hold on.
December 3rd, 2020? Okay, every time you say December 7th, I got a sound effect, but go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, well, it's December 7th is when he was trotted out, but he was born December 3rd because that's the. There you go.
Well, what about, was he conceived on December 3rd, or you would say
Yes,
that's
Yes.
conceived and
Yes.
born, but presented to the world on the 7th, 4 days later.
okay? Okay.
So, yeah. So on December 3rd was when the video drops revealing that Boonis had been misrepresented, and so the gentleman who misrepresented him, our good friend, our beloved friend, Will Brown, also known as Pastor Majors. By the way, are we allowed to mention him, or will your channel get taken down? But
Oh, I don't
we're
care.
not going to take the risk.
Yeah, I don't care. You can say whatever you want. If mine,
I don't want your channel to take down. I
if
heard he
my
has the power
channel-
to take your channel down.
if my channel gets taken down by it's funny, if the certain people group really controls the media, and a certain person is able to destroy my channel with a few clicks of a button, maybe Will Brown really is part of the enclave, if you know what I mean. Maybe he really is part of the red media, if you know what I mean.
So, all right, we're going to take that
Since he-
risk, but I think
okay.
we should take his legal threats very seriously, and we'll get to that in a moment. But so what happened was, after it was revealed that Boonis had been misrepresented, our good friend, our beloved friend Will Brown, posted a screenshot of an email from that same day, from December 3rd, saying that he had a second scholar and they were about to drop a bomb. And they did 4 days later, when they revealed that a Tel Aviv-based scholar of Hebrew named Richard KATZ had also confirmed a Hebrew phrase on the pews. Faithful was one of the first people to express doubt about the existence of this scholar, so we looked into it.
Oh, yeah.
And we felt that the evidence was overwhelming, and that the emails attributed to Richard KATZ were actually composed by Will Brown himself. And there's videos on Faithful's channel, on Vocab Malone's channel, on my channel, on the Journeyman and Woman channel, which is the former channel of Issachar, formerly called Issachar. So there's a lot of videos on that subject. But one other interesting thing is, after it was exposed that, after the case was presented for KATZ's emails being composed by Brown actually said that KATZ himself was going to sue us. Do you have that image?
Why, yes, I do.
So yeah, this came out. So December 20th, 2020 was the day that the video dropped, examining the case of
17 days
of the hidden scholar.
So 17 days after Dr. Katz's birthday, his father is already involved in paternal lawsuits involving his son. On behalf of his son, rather. He's a fighter.
He was saying the son that KATZ himself was going to carry out the lawsuit. It was almost like he was stepping back and was going to let him fight his own battle.
Oh, man. Yeah. Imagine, not only would KATZ be the youngest person to earn a capital P, capital H, capital D, he would probably be the youngest person to ever take someone to court. Man,
now,
what would Judge Judy say?
For full disclosure, unfortunately, that case has not gone to trial yet, much like many of the cases that his two fathers have brought against their assorted
You could
critics.
maybe
None of those have gone
say
to trial either.
that the case is stillborn.
Yes, but no, not necessarily. Any day now, we might find ourselves,
Okay,
and
rather
the two
it's
of you-
a long-term labor.
I do recall that KATZ's other father said that certain unnamed apologists in Arizona and another state on the East Coast, that he was going to bring federal and international criminal charges against them. So you two gentlemen might find yourselves in orange jumpsuits any day now, because he
Federal
did say
and
that's not a threat,
international.
that's a promise.
Well, that's okay, because orange is the new black. Sorry.
Orange
Wait.
up to the ground would be
Can
your
somebody
jumpsuit.
explain to me the international part? I mean,
Because so he was arguing that certain unnamed Christian apologists had harassed and engaged in phishing against a professor in Israel.
the non-existent one, right? Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well, let's-
cyber harassment, phishing, and he said he said when you did that, you got into international waters. That's an exact quote. That's still on Sister E's channel. It's great stuff.
Well-
And I loved how he said that's not a threat, that's a promise. It's been 2 years. The charges haven't dropped yet, the criminal charges, but we'll see. Maybe
Well-
the case is still pending.
Dr. Katz, even as a toddler, obviously is an internationally known and internationally traveling kind of jet setter kind of toddler, because he clearly is born or at least teaches his occupation, his job, his vocation takes place in Tel Aviv, Israel. But he clearly goes home to Atlanta. You know what? I've got it figured out. His job has taken him to Tel Aviv, but he misses his parents on a regular basis, and so he needs to go visit home, to go visit father and father in Atlanta, and perhaps even Virginia.
Well, you know what's really sweet about that? Because obviously when you're far apart from your family members, one way to communicate with them, in the information age is via email. And apparently when he was emailing Will Brown was kind enough to let him use his phone to email him.
The Note
like
8.
Each other from the same device. So
the Note
that's
8, right?
You want to write to me, son? Here you go. Here's my phone. Send me a message. And you can
Matter
use
of
my
fact,
Yahoo app.
You know what's the ironic part about that was, so initially when we were trying to figure out if this guy was for real, and it was looking really, really iffy at the time. It was, when was that? About the 16th, Abu? The 16th of December 2020? When we were trying to come up with the response, an appropriate response to the Richard KATZ being trotted out, the video on the 7th.
Well, we started discussing it on the 8th. Like the video dropped on the 7th. We started discussing it on the 8th. And I remember it was on the 16th when Kelly set it to private. He briefly set his video to private. That was great. But then he brought it back out. But,
but I'm trying to remember.
A lot of times right after a birth, the parents need some time alone from everything. And I'd imagine, that on the 8th day, father and father, being the commandment keepers that they are wanting to circumcise a young Dr. KATZ, right there on the tip of his Richard. And when they did, he might have needed to kind of shut things down, just kind of take some time away from everything. And I would gotta say, Abu, you brought up the fact that his father is letting him use his Note 8 to send messages. Normally, I'd be against that kind of thing, but if your son has the ability to earn a PhD, upon conception, then I think he can use your Note 8.
Yeah, that's what I told my child when my child was a newborn. When you're fully literate, then you can use the phone.
I think that's a good rule. I mean, if you have a PhD, I'll let you use my phone,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's read this birthday announcement here. Well, not a birthday announcement, but the follow-up afterwards from Boom Church Atlanta.
The aftermath of the video exploring the curious case of Dr. KATZ.
I'm looking at the name here, Boom Church Atlanta, and you know how there's Gen X, and then you skip a generation, you got the builders, the World War II generation. In between that, they have the baby boom generation. I wonder if we should start calling the church the Baby Boom Church Atlanta, because they're birthing all these children.
Defamation. That's grounds for a lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let's read this. I told you, faithful to God, you better have your facts together, you and Abu. In your recent video, you stated he was a professor at Tel Aviv. I think Dr. KATZ needs to instruct someone. Never mind. I'm not going to comment on the spelling of anything here. That's the first lie you told. And the rest of the lies, you better lawyer up because it'll handle the rest. That's amazing that's the first lie either of you guys have told your whole life. We wrote, now it's time to get them. It's gone beyond the pews. What? You know what he should have said? It's gone beyond the pews. Now it's going to the bench.
That would have been great.
Wouldn't that be a great Clint Eastwood moment for the Baby Boom Church of Atlanta?
Mm-hmm. Now, it's interesting to see him making these legal threats. As I understand it, you have a bit of a history with receiving legal threats from our good friend, Dr. William Brown.
Yeah, I've received a number of videos, and in those videos, it was said that to be honest, I don't really remember what he said. Abu, what did he say to me? I don't really
something
remember.
About check your email or something like that. You supposedly received an email or something like that.
Oh yeah, check my mailbox, right?
Nah, I don't know.
Was it check my mailbox or something like that?
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Yeah. So, well,
I heard you received an interesting email, a very professional email.
Yeah. So, again, honestly, I forgot about a lot of this. I went to the PO box one day, and I got a thing where it's one of those deals where you gotta like sign it, certified or whatever, And so I saw who it was from. I saw where it was from. It was from Henrico, Virginia, and Atlanta, Georgia. The point of origin for Dr. Katz's DNA. And so, I didn't want to touch the envelope. I was worried that I might myself become impregnated or something bizarre. So I didn't sign for it. I'm not ready to be a father again. And so I didn't sign for it. But then I got an email that said, "Hey, here's this thing you're going to get." And it's from a lawyer. But the email had a PDF attached that expired at a certain time where you couldn't open it up anymore, like in Mission Impossible where it self-destructs. But this was before, not after. And it said it's going to expire, so you got to open it. But the email was sent after the email had already expired.
So a testament to the lawyer's level of professionalism, it seems.
Yeah, but this lawyer is so professional, she has 2 offices. One
Two storefronts, I heard.
2 storefronts. One at Baby Boom Church in Atlanta, Georgia, and the other one in Henrico, Virginia. So,
Did you say Baby Boom Church?
Yeah, Baby Boom Church in Atlanta. So
that's right.
So I got this email, and it had already expired before it could open because it was sent after the PDF was already expired. So there was no way for anyone to open it because it was already expired.
The lawyer was no doubt very experienced in these matters.
Yeah, the lawyers are probably busy. The lawyer had 2 offices, one at Henrico, Virginia, where Pastor Kelly pastors, and the other one from Atlanta, Georgia, where Will Brown pastors. So it's good to see that both of Dr. Katz's Jewish fathers were willing to, stick up for him.
Indeed.
But did I explain that right? Did I explain?
Well, no, that's my favorite part about the story, that the email had an attachment that was set to expire, and it expired before the email was even sent. Like, I feel that's, it doesn't, all jokes aside, it doesn't instill the highest level of confidence in said lawyer.
Indeed.
But whatever the case.
Hey, shout out to Breakfast Gun. That is one of our newest return patrons. Let me give you a little bit of this right here and a little bit of this right here. And let me tell you what's going on, Breakfast Gun. So we're doing a birthday party celebration as a way to draw everyone's attention to the fact that 2 years ago, around this day, it was technically yesterday, in all seriousness, I'll break character temporarily. Some Hebrew Israelites literally invented a scholar to back up their position on the pews on a church in Savannah, Georgia, because they claimed that there was Hebrew there, and then they claimed that it was attested to by legit scholars. Christian apologists challenged that claim about Hebrew being on the pews in a discernible way, and instead of really just going at it and saying, no, here it is, they trotted out scholars. The first scholar, though, came out and said, that's not what I said. We got the email from Dr. David Boonis, and he said, I was misrepresented. Then the second scholar, we came to find out later, never existed. And so what we're celebrating is the 2-year birthday of this scholar, because he was born 2 years ago, to back up a lie. And what was the translation that they said they finally came up with? Take hold, Israel.
Take a grasp of Yah, Israel with a bass
KATZ
voice.
did not confirm Boonis' sentence, but we were told that Boonis confirmed a sentence which translated to take grasp of Yah, O Israel, with a bass voice. They only gave us the English translation, never gave us the Hebrew sentence, which was
take hold of Israel
with a bass voice.
Yes.
Right?
Which is why I was in the live chat saying, please, if you're going to sing happy birthday, please sing it with a bass voice.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
With a bass
They're going to
voice.
clip that up.
Happy birthday, dear Dr.
Fully possessed.
Katz.
With a bass voice.
Happy birthday to you.
realize how much I miss V. But anyway,
What?
V, no, the show from the 80s.
Oh,
The
yeah,
series
yeah,
from the 80s.
V. I remember with the
Yeah,
aliens.
you made me realize how
Yeah.
much I missed the show.
Take hold of Dr. Katz's birthday gifts.
With a bass voice.
Did you guys get him anything?
No, can't say that I did. I got him this discussion.
That's right.
Well, I've got a whole bag of presents here. And,
Uh-oh, let's see what you got him.
okay. Well, the thing
This is
is,
live TV. I didn't know this was going to happen, so this is a surprise for me as well.
yeah. The thing is, hold on.
I feel like it's my birthday, man.
This is my birthday present that I got for Dr. Katz, okay? Can I show you what it is?
Please do. A new skin, like for a snake or something like that. It's like a snake can shed their skin. Sock puppets can shed their sock.
It's a new sock.
Yes, of course.
It's
sock
a new
puppet.
sock.
It's a sock puppet. Put it on your hand. Sock puppet. There you go.
Of course. What do you think I was gonna do, man? We
We've
need
got a
some
special
eyes.
guest. We've got a special guest. I heard Alex Jones had.
Oh, it's
Netanyahu
Richard
on.
Katz. Oh, man.
Hi. I want to thank everyone for coming here to my birthday. Did you know that I'm only 2, but I have a
Bass voice.
okay. Yeah, so that's the gift I got.
This is right on the heels of Kanye West bringing Netanyahu on to Alex Jones. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did actually. Here's the thing. When I spoke with Dr. Katz, he said that the present he wanted most was simply the present of being present. And I told him that's the one thing I can't grant him.
Oh,
Because there's no present to create his presence. So my other bag, honestly, it's empty. There's nothing in it because there's no presence. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Maybe next year. Maybe for your 3rd birthday, we can give you the gift of presents. So, okay. So, do we want to play some videos or explain more clearly what's going on?
well, I mean, so as I said, pretty much the videos you have videos on your channel which already discuss it, and I guess I could post links in the comment section afterwards for those who haven't seen those videos. On the existence of cats. What I would say is maybe we could cover some of the developments since the last time your channel discussed it. Because there have been some interesting developments.
Oh, yeah.
It came out that Sister E was at least privately admitting that that she didn't think he was real, despite
Actually, briefly, just briefly on that point. So in April of, I believe, 2021, she did a show with Benaiah Israel where they attempted to make recourse to make an appeal to the Georgia KATZ professor, the Gothic professor who had nothing to do with this alleged Tel Aviv-based Hebrew professor. And it seemed that didn't work in their favor. And then she's kind of recanted her position, right, Abu? Like she's now
No, she has not publicly recanted it, but she was doing so privately. She's never done so publicly. But then her private misgivings were made public. Somewhat in reaction to her challenge to make a surrounding conversation public.
And what's ironic is that we actually addressed the Georgia KATZ appeal to this guy, Gothic professor, whatever the case is. R.I.P. Plummer. Plummer had actually made a video, I believe in 2020, where he was just, saying, hey, everybody said they couldn't find a KATZ, and I just found this guy named KATZ. And then we pointed out that it wasn't the Richard KATZ that they were alleging was their professor, or whatever the case is, Tel Aviv-based professor. This guy was in Georgia. And then a few months later, they ended up making a whole live stream where they claimed that Georgia professor was actually KATZ all along. Amazing, right? He goes from Tel Aviv to Georgia. Well, technically, he was always in Georgia, if you think about it. But,
I forgot. They really did a whole live stream where they said that?
They said, yeah. So Benaiah was on Sister E's channel. God bless Sister E. I'm still a fan of Sister E. I know she thinks I'm not. I do respect her, and I am a fan of her. And she doesn't. She's offended when I say this, but I mean it in all sincerity. I believe she's manipulated by the crowd around her, and they basically got her to allow them to manipulate her audience I think it was in May of 2021, if I recall correctly, or it might have been April. And Benaya went on there and he gaslit her audience saying, they claim Richard Katz doesn't exist. Look, there's a Richard Katz PhD in Georgia. And he's a linguist. And it turns out the guy has no background in Hebrew whatsoever. It was, as Faithful said, he was a scholar of Gothic, a Germanic language. That's what his PhD was on at I think Georgia State University, if I recall correctly.
My goodness.
And so,
well, I need to play some of those. I need to play that video, right?
Yes, if we could show the first of the 3 clips. So
the first one,
that defense of the KATZ fiasco happened on Sister E's channel. So it seemed like she agreed, like she seemed like she was convinced, she was feigning belief that KATZ was real. But now what we're going to see is in private. Can I set up the background to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this first clip that's coming up, it was a private conversation initially, right? It was a private conversation between the Teo twins, Sister E, and the Yap Gang. And it was sort of, the topic was sort of like strategy for how to deal with critics of the Israelites and stuff like that, people who disagree with Israelites. And this was a private conversation, as I said, but roughly a year later or so, there was sort of a falling out between Sister E and the Yap Gang because the Yap Gang dared to disagree with the Teo twins, dared to criticize their model on DNA. And so on a very trivial matter, she accused them of lying about some detail about that private conversation. It was something silly. It was whether or not Yeshub had participated in the conversation. So because she kept on accusing them of lying about what transpired in that conversation, everybody agreed to make the whole conversation public. And when that private conversation turned into a public conversation, we got to find out that there was a brief moment where they discussed KATZ. And we got to find out that, much like Hillary Clinton having a public persona and a private persona, in private, Sister E was pretty confident that KATZ wasn't real. So that's what this clip is going to capture. This was once a private conversation and then made public because of a dispute.
Here we go.
Oh, no, you got to go to the, this is the second clip. You got to go to the beginning of the video.
Oh, the very beginning?
Yeah, the very beginning. The first clip is at the very beginning. This is the second clip.
My bad.
There you go. Here we go.
Hold up. I think I've drank too much birthday punch, All right, here we go.
The key to this goalpost move, we got to be careful when they start slandering. I had to kind of say something to Abu today on Beren's channel. He started with the whole KATZ thing. Everybody know how bad that KATZ thing happened. The way we need to ensure that we shut it down is when people start throwing that up. My go-to has been, that's not a conversation piece for me to handle. We need to direct that to majors. Let majors handle it. So if KATZ come up again, that's not our discussion point, I would say, and just send them right to majors.
Agreed.
I agree. I don't even touch that. I have my own view on the pews. I leave it at that. That's for Brown and them to deal with. I don't like how that whole thing went down, so I don't even discuss it.
I don't need them. People don't realize that, and this is just between us. Me and majors have not talked since then. I don't even talk to majors.
None of us talk to majors.
Yeah, none of us do. But because
to be honest with you, I don't even go to his channel no more.
Oh
no,
yes.
I don't even.
Yes. But because
I've totally, because of repentance. If the brother came and spoke to us, he don't have to do it with everybody. You know what I mean? But if y'all had a live, not even a live, but a StreamYard discussion, and he repented for it and made it clear and repented even on a live because it was done live, then we could go back to square one. But until that time, I'm not dealing or touching with that situation.
Yeah, and it's an ugly topic too. And the reason why people are like, well, E, why don't you blast him? Right now, our community is still rebuilding from this incident. Me blasting majors publicly, because again, I'm 95% sure think that majors is live, but I still don't have that 5%. I need that 5%.
Yeah. We don't want to impart Beren, because Beren is nasty.
All right, you can pause it there.
I wonder if her certainty of being a Hebrew Israelite works the same way, except she's 5% sure she's an Israelite. She just was waiting at other 95%, But that's fascinating because you have them knowing that he's put this lie out, and instead of caring about the truth, they care about the image of their community. Like,
Not
where's
conceding anything to the dreaded quote unquote UA.
Yeah, where's the concern for truth here?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. That seemed to it did seem to be like that was a motivating factor, and that it's interesting. Even one of the supporters of that crowd said, "Wow, that seems like a smoking gun right there." You know, that this is what's said in private among someone who's part of the inner circle of Brown, Kelly, and etc.
I wonder if that hurt KATZ to hear his aunt, his auntie talk about him that way.
Maybe she hasn't met him yet. You know what it is? I mean, you wait, and they never bring the baby. Sometimes skepticism can set in.
Yeah. Although
Especially when your baby has the same writing style as you,
I heard that father once hinted he had a recording of Dr. Richard KATZ. Now, I don't know if it's going to be goo goo gaga.
We're going to definitely get to that. But on the
almost
subject,
like you're recording your child's first words.
Yeah, he's got his first words were the Shema.
Yeah.
Since he's a Hebrew scholar already.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, we're definitely going to get to that. But while we're still on the subject of the friends and supporters of Brown and Kelly, basically admitting that KATZ isn't real, where Sister E only did that privately, got to give some credit to Dante Fortson. As Berean says, shout out to Dante. He's a boss in this thing. And then I got to give credit where credit is due. And Dante, very quickly let go of the KATZ thing. Initially, he seemed to, waver on it publicly and maybe, share some of the videos and stuff like that. But then very quickly, I think it was about a month later, he started telling Berean and others that, he knows it's a lie and that it's shady and all that. And Berean brought it out. Then later on, Dante himself wrote about it on Facebook. And then just recently, last September, he reiterated the point. He said he stands on what has been brought out of his words in the past. So this second clip that's going to come up, it's actually a compilation of 3 clips of Dante's statements over the last couple years. And like I said, where Sister E was private, strictly private, Dante was public. So we'll hear Berean reading a message that Dante sent him. Then you'll hear me reading something Dante posted on Facebook. And then we'll hear Dante's own voice saying that he stands on what other people had read aloud from him. All right, well. So that's the second clip.
That's a shame because I heard they were considering to make him the Godfather,
Yeah, not anymore, I guess.
Yeah, probably not.
So that's the first clip. You're going to jump about a minute and 50 seconds. A little bit before that.
157. Here we go.
That is nasty.
There we go.
Listen, Kelly and Major both need to fall on their swords. This is Dante talking to Sister E and KU Ministries. And he sent me the screenshot. I'm live. I'm like, yo, and I'm at work wilding out, blowing shots. I'm like, yo, y'all better produce that professor. I'm amping myself up. Yo, y'all got to produce this professor. I got a problem. Kelly and Major both need to fall on their swords. I know Kelly wants to protect his cousin, but he's going to drag people down with him. Shots fired, Dante. But he's talking privately. But publicly he said, yo, if he did wrong, whatever. And if we're being honest, we know Major was moving shady prior to this. Kelly called me several times and said as much before this all went down. I'm just letting y'all know that I'm not riding with Kelly or Majors on this. Bigger things are at stake than those Negroes' pride. If they fall, they just fall. That's the great Dante.
Here's what Dante wrote. I'm, focusing on the highlighted portions, which are most relevant to this video. Dante wrote at one point, quote, "The only people riding with that KATZ nonsense are those that defended it to begin with," end quote.
Shots fired, Dante.
Then he went on to say, quote, "The KATZ thing is BS, and we all have already agreed to that," end quote.
Right there. See, they ran with the KATZ thing. Y'all know how I felt about the KATZ thing. Everybody know how I felt. I posted in the group of Israelites, and I said exactly how I felt, and then I copied and pasted it into other groups. Pastor Kelly was in the group. I had a conversation with Pastor Kelly after I said what I said. Berean showed it on his channel that I said what I said, and I stand by what I said to this day. I'm not changing up anything I said. Now,
Okay, you can pause that there. That was interesting. So that for me, one of the more two fascinating points out of that. Number one, that before he first expressed his doubts in roughly January, I think it was January of 2021, so about a month after KATZ was exposed, Dante said that apparently Kelly had told him on multiple occasions in private that Brown moves in a quote unquote shady way, you know? And I imagine that may have included his mishandling of the Boonis information, you know? And then for him to say he also had a private conversation with Kelly after he dropped that initial statement. I find that fascinating. I must confess, I wish I could have heard that conversation. But you gentlemen share your thoughts.
And basically telling them to fall on their sword, basically take their L. Sometimes maybe Dante should probably take some of his own advice. Sometimes he takes a lot of L's and he doesn't always fall on his sword. But hey, at least he did the right thing in that situation, right? He was trying to tell Kelly and Brown, hey, you were wrong for this. And, they didn't listen. So so here we are,
I like Dante. So as Berean says, shout out to Dante. I'm sincerely saying it, King of receipts. God willing, I'll meet up with him one day. We can share a cup of coffee or something like that. I mean, 2 cups of coffee, not, but slice of pizza or whatever.
Right. Yeah, just make sure there's no pepperoni.
Yes. And so, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. So, credit to Dante. And like I said, it's interesting that he became increasingly public with that, while others in that circle were strictly private. And now, if you'd like, we can get to the thing about the recording. That's the third clip. Unless you guys have more to say on what was just shown. We're moving through this pretty fast. But if I could,
Nate,
I guess I could set up the third clip.
Nate says, does Dante ever do the right thing? Depends.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
that's that meme. Yeah.
I don't
I'm
think
going to say this.
I don't know if
I think Dante
Abu doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. The meme, Abu.
Wait, I missed
remember?
Depends.
Depends.
Oh,
Remember
yes,
the
okay,
meme with Dante in the diapers? Yeah.
I got it. I'll say this about Dante. I think he's a sharp guy, and I think his intelligence shines through in his sense of marketing. He has a very good sense of marketing and branding and, how can I put this politely, shaping the direction of conversations. So I think he's an intelligent guy. And so credit to him, because I think his intelligence allowed him, he's a sharp guy. He was able to see the writing on the wall on that one. He saw that was a losing battle, and he got out earlier than the rest of them,
Or maybe he was able to see the non-writing on the pew.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a wild thing, man.
Hey, check your live chat. It seems that we have a special guest. Oh, who is? Oh, there he is.
Dr. Richard KATZ says he takes offense to this live stream. Well, God forbid I offend a minor. But shouldn't you be in bed?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Past your bedtime. That's right.
Honestly. And I know you're writing that on the Note 8. All right, let's go.
No, I imagine they got a new phone since then. I mean,
well, maybe for his birthday.
Years. Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see here. Where's the
so
third
we're
one?
go
Only people riding with.
Huh?
I'm sorry. You're about to set up the third clip?
I got it. Yeah, I got it. Go ahead.
It wasn't there. So to set this up, so this takes us back into the issue. So what we're covering here generally is, the developments since the last time your channel covered this. So we see how Sister E never publicly admitted what she really thinks about KATZ, but we've come to find out what she was saying in private. Dante, on the other hand, has been fairly public. Shout out to him. Credit to him. Kelly, on the other hand, has continued to gaslight on this topic. And I'm sorry about to say that bluntly, but it's just a fact of the matter. And last August, he appeared on Berean TV, and he said, first off, I would say this was like a trial balloon of sorts. He hinted that they actually have a recording of KATZ's voice, and they may release it if KATZ gives them permission. That was like, I took that to be like a trial balloon to see if they, a new idea and keeping this thing going. And then on top of that, he continued to push this idea that there was like a confidentiality agreement between Brown and KATZ. And as you see on the screen, it was he's required to protect his privacy, almost like the seal of confession that exists, for Catholics and Orthodox. Like a priest can never be legally obligated to reveal what they were told in the confession booth, and so it's like that kind of thing, like he can never.
How many days has it been since your last email, my son? And Dr. Richard Katz, hey, Katz is in the live chat. Honestly, Katz, if you want to come on, I'd bring you on. I just want to let you know you have an open platform.
Yeah, because then maybe we could get a recording of his voice and we don't have to wait for Kelly's recording.
Yeah.
But so what we're about to show is a clip of when Kelly appeared on Berean just last August. So just, like 3 months and change. And so where some are admitting privately that he's fake and some are very public about him being fake. There's one gentleman who's continued to gaslight not just his critics, but even his own supporters, I'm sorry to say, and that's something that people should think about. He's not just, these people who engage in the deception are not merely trying to deceive the sinister UA. They're deceiving the people who support them financially, the people who trust them. And on that level, it's fairly ugly.
Shout out to Doki Doki Bible Club. I like that he gave a super chat with a birthday cake slice and a birthday candle. That's what we need, actually. Guys, give birthday gifts to Dr. Katz. I'll be sure to pass him on. All right, here's this last clip here. There we go.
What happened with that whole situation, and you heard me firsthand when you and I talked, was I honest with you? I was being completely honest with you. I was like, hey, Brother Berean, and you asked me questions. Why won't Majors just bring Richard Katz and put him out there publicly? And so what I said I said, he can't. He told him not to. If the man tell him not to, and being a pastor, and you do something anyway.
And he said he wanted to keep, yes.
I can't make him do anything.
Yes.
Right? So what began to happen is, more videos came out. It went from, saying that, all kinds of jokes that it went from, Majors created Richard Katz to Pastor Kelly's the brain behind Richard Katz. And Brother Berean, again, you was there, and I talked with you, so I'm saying this, family, it's easy for you to say, hey, why come Pastor Kelly won't throw his own cousin under the bus? Wait a minute. Listen to how you guys sound. You know what I mean? I believe my cousin and confirmed. Regardless, I can't put the information out there, but I believe, and whenever he decides to, if he gets the okay, he has audio. Right. But anyway, I'm saying this, Brother Berean, as a pastor, it's so much stuff that you privy to that you can't share. If you do, you can get in trouble for doing so.
Confidentiality, yes.
Confidentiality, right? The courts can't even take me to court to tell on someone that confided in me. So many pastors, and Brother Berean, you as a pastor, you led assemblies. Many pastors have gotten in trouble because of them putting information out there of their own parishioners when they decide to leave that particular church.
It's another birthday break. Dr. Katz. Happy birthday to you, man. For real. Happy birthday to you, Dr. Katz. Okay. So
There's a lot to unpack there. I'd say, you know.
Yeah, could I actually
Go
just
ahead.
say this? Just to we could break character just for a slight moment. For a man to sit there and call himself a pastor, and knowing what the Bible says about lying, right, in the Proverbs, that there are things that the Lord hates, and one of those is a lying tongue. For him to sit there and blatantly lie in that fashion, being a pastor over a congregation, is absolutely sickening. It makes me wonder how he can look at himself every day in the mirror and with a straight face think that he's doing the right thing by protecting a lie that his own cousin perpetuated, that he has to know is a lie, because there is no Richard Katz. There is no audio recording or anything that he can, like, this is, in fact, for them to even continue perpetuating this lie only speaks volumes about how little they actually know the Lord. Because I don't believe anybody that knows the Lord would have the, how can you have no conviction about what you're doing? I just don't understand that.
yeah, and he's saying he's heard this audio.
Yeah, wasn't that interesting? It's one thing to say I believe my cousin, but he said and confirmed. Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
saying that you can trust Honest Kelly. He himself confirmed it, so it's no longer just one witness. We got two witnesses.
Yeah, and it's so silly. Like, they're not allowed to release audio. And notice also what it is, right? Audio. Let's say they released audio. How would anyone be able to prove that's Richard Katz?
Yeah, exactly.
It's audio.
Right.
Well, we'll see. I encourage them to release it. I'd love to hear it. What I would say is also, with regards to him saying, "Oh, you expect me to throw my cousin under the bus?" This is what I would say. No, I never expected that, and I would not ask anyone to do that. But like at best, I would respect a person who decided to remove themselves from that conversation. Like if someone they love is in a bad spot and they're like, "Look, I don't want to discuss this." All right, fine, I can respect that. But what he did is he perpetuated the lie with more lies. He on his channel, they went on to say that Katz had to go into hiding. For me, this is disgusting. That Katz had to go into hiding because the sinister UA threatened his job. So at that point, they were piling another lie on top of the first lie. So it's nobody expected you to
Right.
throw your own family member under the bus, as it were, to speak bad about your family. But I imagine that everyone was hoping you wouldn't try to defend the lie with another lie, and then still a few more.
Yeah, where's the evidence that urban apologists were threatening him at his job or something? What would the threat be? What were they going to say? We're going to...
Oh, so according to the email, an email that they're the sole source of, so they produced yet another email from attributed to KATZ, and it said that someone called their his university and said that he's associated with extremist Israelites in the United States. Which is funny because the way it was worded, it made it seem at the time they were still presenting him as someone in Israel. Then later on, they were like, "No, he was in Georgia the whole time." Say, well, then why would?
And now he's back to being in Israel, right? Now he's back in Tel Aviv.
Well, no, I'm saying like that was around Christmas time.
Yeah.
They were saying he was still in Israel, I think, at that point, because he was saying they told my university I'm associated.
This guy's
with,
like, where is Carmen San Diego? It's like he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he comes home for the holidays to visit his two fathers.
Yeah, somebody actually proposed that. One of their defenders said, "Well, how do you know he wasn't visiting Georgia? That's why they had the same SPF IP, because he happened to be in the region. Lots of Israelis visit the United States." He may have been hanging out with Brown, and he was like, "Hey, Brown, I want to respond to your email, but I don't have my phone." And Brown was like, "Hey, use mine."
I do want to say something, though, that I do give kudos to Brown. Because, here we thought he was anti-Semitic the whole time. And he's willing to let an Ashkenazi Jew use his phone. So maybe I was wrong about him after all. I appreciate that, Brown. Amir with the super chat. The UA threatened Katz's
Get out
job
of
at
my
a
law.
university he doesn't work at. Yeah. The urban apologists are this like global cabal who has power to fire Hebrew professors in Israel or to force them into hiding. You know, where we got hitmen over there.
Yep. That's but and it wasn't hard for him to go into hiding because he had no paper trail to begin with. You know,
Yeah.
no published
And,
material.
and
nothing.
if we could, Vocab, can you give a reenactment? Since they claim to have a audio recording, could you do a reenactment of what Richard Katz could potentially sound like?
So that's the thing. There's one person out of us who does have a decent impression that would work for this, but it's not me.
Uh-oh.
But I
remember the bass voice. Let's see what the
right.
bass voice sounds like. Yeah.
So wait, Katz has the bass voice. I'm totally thinking something different. I'm thinking
you wanted someone to say "Mein Zaidi hat mir gesagt" or something like that. Bring the Yiddish out.
Yeah, Katz needs.
Well, it's the other side, so yeah, why not? Bring a little Yiddish out.
How would you picture Katz sounding, Abu?
With a bass voice.
I don't know. I got to be careful here. I don't want to get your channel in trouble. I go a little too hard with my if I put a little too much Yiddish on it.
Fine. I guess I'll just have to do it
with a bass voice.
I looked at the pews and what did I see? I see B'nai Yisrael. It's son of Israel in the singular, because I don't know anything about the context.
Because my Zaidi said so.
Yeah, mein Zaidi hat mir gesagt. My grandpa, he told me that it says son of Israel on it.
Dr. Katz, what's the translation of the pew say? Could you say it, please? Let me know what it said.
Israel.
What?
Oh, the previous one, what is it? Take grasp of Adonai, take grasp of Hashem, O Yisrael, with the bass voice.
What kind of voice was that?
The bass one.
With the bass voice.
We could do a whole interview this way,
Yeah, exactly. And I'll end every sentence of, what do you know about research? Nothing.
So, yeah, Israel, take hold of Hashem.
With the bass voice.
And the same IP address as William Brown.
We got to do the diminutive.
And the same phone.
Miss Riley, take grasp of Hashem with the bass voice. The voice with the bass in it. You know what I'm talking about.
Because that's what my Zaidi said.
Exactly. My Zaidi, my grandpa. That's we're going to be ending certain videos off with this. Like, Sesame Street used to say this episode was brought to you by the letter L and the number 7. Faithful wants to end his videos off with my voice saying, this episode was brought to you by the Yiddish phrase, mein Zaidi hat mir gesagt. My grandpa told me,
I don't even understand really what you guys are telling.
We started that because Kelly had a video where some young guy, apparently of Jewish ancestry, of Ashkenazi ancestry, he was like, oh, yeah, the Ashkenazim were all Khazars. And they were like, how do you know? He was like, oh, my grandpa told me. And they were like, there you go, end of argument. So we were like, what if his grandfather said the opposite? Like, what if his grandfather, my grandfather said, oh, the Ashkenazim, go back to the patriarch, Yaakov Avinu, Mein Zaidi hat mir gesagt. My grandfather told me, so that's it. Argument over, right? That's how research works, right? What do you know about research? I'm the king of the Hasids. Oh, you're definitely losing your channel.
Yeah,
we know who's getting canceled next.
I don't even. Like Prime Minister says, it's Moshugana.
With a bass voice.
Moshugana.
Yes, this whole thing is Moshugana.
Did Mel Brooks just join the panel?
Yeah.
I feel like if anyone can appreciate the humor,
we can actually put the Yiddish. Kelly, our good friend, our beloved friend, the good Dr. Kelly Richardson. He begins a lot of his videos very slowly, saying "Shalom, Mash, Pa, Cha," which is his way of saying peace, family in Hebrew, or he'll say "Shalom Lach." So the Yiddish, not the Yiddish, the Loshin Kodesh, which is the Hebrew with the Yiddish pronunciation. That it'd be like Shalom Aleichem Mishpeiche, Shalom Lach. Mash Pacha, that's Lashwan Kodash, but then in the Loshin Kodesh, it's Shalom Aleichem Mishpeiche.
It sounds so funny, the combination of the two things.
Laughing. Then you want to say, what do you know about funny, huh?
What do you know about research?
What is this? We need to do. I need to get Richard Katz in the boom boom room.
We might need another break.
That's such an obscure reference, but there'll be like 8 of us who love it. We're like, oh, best Boom Boom Room episode ever, you know?
Yeah, Richard Katz in the boom boom room. The way it can go is you got Richard Katz in there, and you got
Like you have an actual
Hebrew
cat
in the Quran, you know?
You have a cat, an actual cat.
a cat with a yarmulke.
He'll find cursive Hebrew in the Quran, you know, because all you need for Hebrew is just a resemblance to a cursive character with this crowd. So for example, in the Shahada, it says La ilaha illallah, the La, it has the same shape as the cursive ayin. They'd be like, right there, I showed you the Hebrew in there.
Yeah, but the cat won't be able to walk on the Quran.
Yeah.
Won't be able to touch it.
That's funny. I can't walk on it, but I can find some Hebrew in there.
And then
It's definitely some Loishin Kodesh in that last chapter.
and then but
Bismillah, mishpoike.
Muhammad will just continually stare at the cat's yarmulke, and he'll keep on zooming in on the yarmulke more and more. And then Muhammad just goes. Anyways.
Wonder if you could decipher the inscription on this button on my detonator. Take a good look.
I detect an irregular spelling for Israel.
Yeah, Israeli.
I can
5
spell. Yeah, how do you spell it? How do you spell it?
Yeah, 5 yods, no aleph. Yeah, and a zion and no shin. No sin, excuse me. Yeah,
Yeah.
Quite the irregular spelling. And you know what's funny?
Hey, Abu, Allah has a shin, but not.
Yes, exactly. Allah
Right?
has
Get
a
it?
shin, but
Allah has a
the
shin.
Jew spelling of Israel doesn't. Yeah.
We're getting
a great
really
line.
obscure now.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
And
I don't
Katz
think.
doesn't agree with that. He says Hashem doesn't have a shin. He's incorporeal.
Or we
Maybe
could
the
do.
Wahhabis are saying it, but I'm not a Wahhabi.
We should set up an event that's Abu KHAMR debates Dr. Richard Katz, and it'll be like promote it like it's a real thing, you know, the unveiling. And then when the live stream happens, it'll just be your side of the camera and then an empty chair like with Clint Eastwood. Remember with Clint Eastwood was debating the empty chair? Does no one remember?
Yes.
Anyways.
It'll be the empty minbar, yeah. At the masjid, or whatever you call it, at the shul.
Okay, man, this is insane. Okay, what else do we need to say to close out this special birthday celebration of Dr. Richard Katz?
It was short and sweet.
It's short and
I'm
sweet.
all out of material. I can do a little bit more Yiddish, but if anybody wants to say something more serious than what I've been dishing out.
Faithful to God, you've been dealing with Hebrew Israelites for a long time. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Man, let me tell you. This was honestly one of the worst L's that I've ever seen the Hebrew Israelite community take. Aside from maybe the Rakah thing. Maybe that might be kind of close, but man, this was so crazy. And the way it happened was, you know, at first I remember Abu was a little skeptical. You know, I proposed the idea that, you know, like we went looking for this guy. We tried Google searching for him, couldn't find anything. Went looking all over the place. And I was like, it's weird that you have a Tel Aviv-based Hebrew professor and you can't find anything on him. No email.
You know,
I mean,
it's
you can
funny.
find
This
obscure
is where Faithful's approach proved better suited than mine, because my approach is to try to assume the best about everyone we're dealing with, and Faithful's approach isn't exactly that. He's not exactly assuming the best about these gentlemen.
Right.
And so he was able to arrive at a rather negative proposal before I could, and then as we really started to look into it, it really piled up.
I'll be honest. We've never talked about this before. I'll be completely honest. When I first heard you doubting Richard Katz existed, I was like, man, Faithful is just being conspiracy theorist right now.
That's what I told him when he first suggested it. I said that to him. I was like, no, come on. You
No,
know, he
I
was like, "What
this
if it doesn't exist?" I was like,
You,
"No,
you-
come
you
on,
know, it
that's
was funny. Abu, the way he says, like, "Come on, man, be serious, man. Come on." Like,
yeah." That was pretty much what I said. I was
it's
"Oh,
like
come
the
on."
absurdity behind it. Like, like it was impossible in his mind that someone would go that far. And I was like,
Stoop to
no,
that
no,
level.
listen.
Yeah.
I was like, listen. I was like, these guys just misrepresented a scholar of Solitero. What makes you think they won't make up a scholar?
Well, and the funny thing was, Faithful told me he couldn't find him, and he couldn't find anything on Google, no paper trail. And like, half of my thought was, well, maybe Faithful doesn't really know how to use Google. So let me pull this up,
I'll show him.
Yeah, let me show you what a master of Google searches can do. With cracked knuckles. And yeah, I went to the well and it was dry for me as well. But,
It wasn't poisoned, it was empty.
yeah.
Yeah,
There were
no,
more
honestly,
latkes in the pan.
when I heard about it, Faithful, I was like, man, he's going too far this time, man. Like, he's just being a conspiracy theorist, and sometimes we gotta be nice to these guys. He's being overly skeptical, overly critical. There's no way anyone would do something like that. And so he's just reaching. I mean, I was really kind of thinking along those lines, and then come to find out, you were right. Oh my goodness.
That's right. That's right.
Bro, seriously, I mean, so I'm glad. I'm Faithful. I'm glad your skepticism paid off. And
By the way, since we talked about Dante being fairly consistent in expressing his negativity, there's one gentleman I see in the live chat, Orthodox Moore. I got to say, from the jump, he went out of his way to be fair to them and to try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but he was also very, very honest from the jump. I remember when it first dropped and they first started, Brown put up a post, which he later took down. I remember what the post was, but I remember Orthodox Moore wrote in the comment section, he said, man, the appearance of evil on this one is not going to be like covered up by like accusing these guys of racism. You're going to have to really come up with something better. And then he afterwards, I remember he appeared with in a discussion with Kevin G and G-Con, and he was saying, it's very suspicious that like he writes this email and when he could have just explained his methodology, he spent all that time explaining why he doesn't have time to explain his methodology. And then Moore said, you don't have to bring him out, because Berean was saying bring that professor out. Moore was saying just bring out his paper trail, like basically bring out some of his his publications. The guy's a PhD, right? Early he's published. And yeah, that's pretty bad when you got a scholar.
He's like, what scholar has no paper trail? What professor has no email, no contact information? You can't find anything. Like, this guy is like in the dark when professors want to be found because they're teaching. They want to be able to be found so they can teach people whatever it is that they have proficiency in. So why in the world would a guy who is a alleged scholar and professor of Hebrew not make himself known, and then responds to people through a Yahoo email account, right? Generally speaking, not all the time, but generally, scholars respond with EDUs, right? So this guy has Yahoo account, no EDU, like we can't find anything on him, and on top of that, the egregious mistakes that this alleged scholar was making in Hebrew, not understanding the construct state in Hebrew for the phrase B'nai and B'nai Yisrael. So in the correspondence, Abu, if you can recount this, he said that he saw the word B'nai Yisrael and he translated it as son rather than sons, given that the relevant phrase is in the plural construction in the construct state. How is it that a professor of Hebrew didn't know about the construct state in Hebrew?
And what's fascinating is just a month before, Kelly Richardson actually, maybe we should have prepared that clip, but whatever the case, just a month before, or maybe a month and a half before, Kelly had done a teaching at his storefront in which he revealed that he understands the singular for son in Hebrew to be B'nai, or as he pronounces it in Lashon Kodash, Banya. So it certainly was interesting that the Richard Katz's understanding of Hebrew was parallel with that of Kelly Richardson, and there's no shame in, not being familiar with the construct state, but it's the proximity there, which is curious. And the fact that this was being trotted out as the writings of a Hebrew scholar, but I guess the author of those emails didn't didn't have the tools to anticipate that those a slightly bit more familiar with Hebrew, would be able to pick up on the mistakes.
Yeah, I remember when I first went into like more academic libraries, and I would see dissertations in these kind of large, bland, hardbound editions, and they would be on a shelf set aside. They would have a lot of times the specifically like the dissertations, and certain ones would be printed out, and it was really cool to see because you could get a hold of certain stuff that was unpublished, and even if a book was published, whenever Cambridge or Harvard, whenever they publish someone's dissertation, they have to change it. They have to make it into a readable book form. Even if it's an academic leaning book, it's still usually not as academic as the dissertation itself. And I remember I realized, whoa, you can like publish this and you can find these things, and there's databases of it, and you can even get a hold of physical copies. And if you have your own PhD, you can go to a certain company and then you can print it out and have it bound, and it costs a little bit, but you can get your own dissertation bound. And then I started to understand, this is a long time ago, I started to understand, oh yeah, that's how like I'll read a book sometimes and it'll say source cited unpublished dissertation. I'd always be like, well, how'd they get a hold of it? This is a long time ago. When I read books, I'd read the footnotes. And it kind of all came together when I started visiting academic libraries and stuff. My point by saying that all is, if Richard KATZ had a PhD, you would be able to find it if it was an accredited university. If you're going to teach in Israel Hebrew, it better be at a seriously accredited university, and you'd be able to find that stuff. And the fact that you can't, that was a red flag, and I'm glad that Faithful and Boo.
Yeah, I'm always interested in people's dissertations. I want to see Katz's dissertation. I want to see Dr. Kelly's dissertation. And now that Brown recently got his PhD, his doctorate, I'd love to see his dissertation as well. And I'm not joking. I would love to read their dissertations.
Yes, because the fathers as well as the son all have PhDs.
Or doctorates. Yeah, I think it's doctorates of theology, THDs for the fathers. And I'm not trying to be funny. I think that's what they claim.
Yeah, like, when you do something, you stand by it. You want people to read it. You don't try to hide it under a bushel, So it's just, anyways. Okay, well, I think that's good. Shout out to the live chat. Shout out to Tony Tabano. What's up, Tony Tabano? For the super chat. Let me read a couple
This
little...
was short and sweet, like a piece of arugula.
These are some funny comments here. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Amir says an academic fingerprint. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think more use that phrase as well. Yeah. A scholar with no academic fingerprints, no scholastic fingerprints.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we could remix Romans, in professing to be PhDs, they became non-existent or something like that. And professing to be professors, they became invisible men. Okay, well, Faithful to God, it's been dope to join you, to have you join today. You're on Clubhouse. You want to tell people how to jump on there?
Absolutely. You can actually find me on Clubhouse. If you type in Faithful to God, you'll be able to see me on there. I believe you're on Clubhouse too. If anybody wants to follow Vocab Malone, they can just type in Vocab Malone and find him on there. I also have a YouTube channel. You can find me on YouTube at Faithful to God. Just type in at Faithful to God and you'll see my channel.
No doubt. Abu, what about you, bro?
Well, just my YouTube. You can also find me on Twitter as Abu KHAMR, and then I have a YouTube channel. I'm not very active on Clubhouse. I'm rarely on there, and I think I'm gonna fast for Clubhouse in the lead up to the Feast of the Nativity.
Okay.
Like the Orthodox do, they do the Nativity fast. So,
Well, that reminds me, we need to do a show on Hanukkah.
Yeah, I'm hoping to come back to be on again in about let's say 14 days, literally 2 weeks.
All right.
2 weeks from tonight, we'll come on. We'll discuss Hanukkah, and I think we can have a fun discussion because I have a fringe little thing that I like to work on the proximity of Hanukkah, because people want to talk about the proximity of Christmas, the Saturnalia. maybe we'll spend a tiny bit of time talking about the proximity of Hanukkah to Saturnalia.
Man, I wish we could get Dr. Richard KATZ to join us for that show.
Yeah.
With a bass voice.
Feast of the dedication. Hanukkah.
With a bass
You get your
voice.
Neure, it's Hanukkah, you get your Sufganiyot. Sufganiyes, I think it is in Lashon Kodesh. I don't know.
All right, y'all. God bless. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I think I might end
Thanks
this.
for having us on.
Hey, no problem. You know what we need to do?
Shalom Aleichem.
we need to end this show
With a little klezmer? Do you have any klezmer?
With
No.
a
Was
Richard
there
KATZ
enough
freestyle.
super chats
With
for
the
a
birthday-
klezmer
Richard KATZ freestyle.
Yeah, with a birthday freestyle, right? Isn't that right? Let's try it.
Do you have a klezmer? Beat?
No, I don't. All right, you want to give me some words, Abu, faithful? What do I need to rap about here? I'm not that great of a rapper, people. Yeah.
Fraud.
Yes, y'all. Here we come. You know we don't stall. While we rap for God. Discussing something kinda odd. Mic check 1 2 1 2. We look at the email. There's no dot. Edu coming through. You know what we're thinking? This man should have some ink in. Paper trail off the 3rd rail. The KATZ trail. It got derailed. Yeah, man, the Hebrews failed. What they do? They impale themselves with their sword and pen. Check it out now, we coming again. I got to say, thank God, faithful discovered the dude was a fraud. What else we got, bro? Okay, I got another one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, here we
My
go.
zany. My zany.
Okay, let me do some more here. You guys are killing me over here.
Or latkes.
Okay, how about this? Yeah, check it. Okay, we're reading the email. Check it out, and we can tell something's wrong, something ain't straight. We're realizing that something's fake. Staying up late to figure it out. After a while, it becomes no doubt. What's this? 1 2 3. KATZ and dude have the same IP. AT to the L. That'll make sense. Plus, dude can't spell. PhD should know it well. There's no H, it don't stand for hell. Capitalize, well that's a lie. No surprise, we arrive at this only true conclusion. KATZ was imagination, no diffusion. The situation escalating. Dudes got real mad, gaining weight in. There was no 9 months of pregnancy. There's no legacy. Peep this, we had no choice when we realized
With the bass voice.
we had to go take hold, and that's why we had to go stand bold. Check this, it was not the first place, not the last place, but KATZ, he gets the gas face, and you know what else? He gets the voice with the bass. All right, what else we got? What else we got? What else we need to rap about?
That's a mic drop moment right there, man.
Yeah, that's unequivocally my favorite vocab freestyle of all time. I'm gonna click that up, post it on one of my other channels.
That's right.
And the only thing I'll say is that if you mention the hood, you gotta refer to it as the hood.
I can't do the accents. I can't even do it.
Because the H is in the back of your throat, like you're coughing up phlegm, like you're coughing up a bit of rugula.
Oh my goodness, you guys are killing
But
me.
we don't have to go for it.
We don't have to go for it.
What do I know about hip hop?
What do you know about freestyles?
Oh my goodness. But you know what? I am gonna end with one more birthday joint. Let me see if I got it. Where'd that birthday thing go?
I don't know anything about hip hop, but you want to talk about music? Klezmer.
Yeah, happy birthday. How about one happy birthday?
In Hebrew, it's Yom Holedet Sameach. I'm guessing the last one will not say Yom
All right, guys, let's end the show with one more birthday break to Dr. Richard KATZ. Here we go.
Happy birthday, Dr. KATZ.